Hello, and thank you for joining us today for Fair Housing Forward Live. I'm Robin Hamilton, and it is a privilege to be here with you today for NAR's annual commemoration of Fair Housing Month. My journey began as a reporter, drawn to people and organizations committed to making the world a better place. As a filmmaker, I've had the opportunity to work alongside organizations at the forefront of housing advocacy, like the 3 fair housing champions you'll meet today. These advocates are making a difference in their communities by helping to provide fair and equitable housing opportunities for all. Their work reflects the progress we've made and the work that remains as we recognize key milestones in fair housing history. Each April, we honor the passage of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, now 58 years strong. In the 250-year span since we declared our independence, 58 years is not all that long. These milestones remind us that fair housing is not just history, it's a continued commitment brought to life every day by realtors like the champions we're honoring today. Let's get started and go to our first Fair Housing Champion winner. Barry Long is an agent making a difference for buyers with disabilities by helping them get the information they need to find their perfect home.
Go, Ted.
Go, Ted, go.
We have 4 kids, and Ruby, the 5-year-old, has cerebral palsy. She's in a wheelchair.
For us, when there's already so much uncertainty in our lives, having a place to call home is really important.
He and his wife called me and said, we need to buy a home, an accessible home that they could live in with their daughter, Ruby. And it didn't take long because of our accessibility search criteria.
We met Barry in May and we closed in August. It was incredibly fast. And this house means everything to us.
I crashed my motorcycle back in 1991. And paralyzed myself from the chest down. So well before I ever got into real estate, my wife Emily and I were looking for our first house. And unfortunately, it was hugely challenging because there was nowhere in the system of real estate to highlight the homes that could work for us. Because my accessibility is completely different than my friend Kenny, who's in a power chair, which is totally different than my friend Clark, who's blind, or my friend Echo, who's deaf. And then years later, when I got this opportunity to get into real estate, I had a personal understanding of the lack of information out there. When we first started Able Environments, the goal was to add the data of accessibility to the system, because we believe that everybody should have a home that fits their needs. And that means everybody.
Prior to Barry's involvement with Northwest MLS, we had one field on the MLS that said disabled access, yes or no. He called the MLS, got a hold of me. After working with Barry, now there are literally hundreds of data points that you can search for.
It's right in the middle, so everybody gets to see it. A listing agent can go in and add value to that property by highlighting the accessibility features, and a buyer can now search for those criteria of accessibility to find the property that might work for them.
I've been in construction since I was 14, working for my grandfather, and the need that I've seen in the clients that we're working with has only increased over the years and continues to explode.
We realized that just creating the criteria was one thing, but we really needed to train the real estate professionals to understand how to use that criteria and why it was important to do that.
We built a studio, which is where we're at right now, and we started videotaping people of all different disabilities, people with cerebral palsy and muscular dystrophy and multiple sclerosis and spinal cord injuries, to ask them how they needed real estate to be set up for them to find the house that they needed. And we created a designation that's called ARES. It's the Accessibility Real Estate Specialist designation that real estate professionals can take. It's all online.
It really is a masterclass. We're already seeing brokers be able to generate business, and when you're able to talk to it intelligently and now add that to your tool belt, that seals the deal with some of our clients.
It allows me to serve the clients much better. It allows me to help improve their lives, their livelihoods.
As a result of meeting Barry, we got to specifically filter for homes that would be accessible for Ruby. We want to see this be something that's available to everyone, everywhere. If everybody can get trained to just be a little bit like Barry Long, the world would be a better place.
All right, Ruby, I'm following you.
Okay, Ruby, here we go.
Thank you, Barry, for helping make home ownership more accessible. Your work is a powerful reminder that fair housing isn't just about policy. It's about people, dignity, and making sure everyone has the opportunity to find a home that truly meets their needs. Congratulations. Our partner, Realtor.com, provided donations for each fair housing champion to dedicate to the housing-related nonprofit of their choice. We are grateful for their support. Here's Mickey Newberger, Chief Consumer and Marketing Officer at Realtor.com.
Thank you, Robin, and hello, everyone. Barry, Courtney, and Shannon, congrats on being named this year's Fair Housing Champions. We're proud to have sponsored these awards for 4 years now. Expanding access and opportunity to home ownership is core to Realtor.com's mission. We're proud to give a $5,000 prize to each of you for an organization you chose. Barry, your work is making housing more accessible and inclusive, and I'm proud that your grant will support the Teen Network of Snohomish County. Each of you is advancing fair housing in a deeply meaningful way. Congrats again, and thank you for leading by example. Back to you, Robin.
Thank you, Mickey, and thank you to Realtor.com for helping elevate and support this important work. Now, let's welcome NAR President Kevin Brown, who can talk a little bit more about what fair housing means to him personally and to NAR. Welcome, Kevin. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for the invite.
So, first of all, we got to talk about the Fair Housing Champions. What did you think about them? The beautiful stories.
Great stories, fantastic videos. It's a great example of how realtors serve the underserved and some of the most vulnerable people within our communities, and how home ownership transforms people's lives. You know, when I first got into the business, the majority of my clients were minorities and the underserved, and they were first-time home buyers. They were scared, they were overwhelmed. Many of them never thought they would be able to buy a house. And I think these videos were amazing in highlighting how property ownership transforms people's lives, from the accessibility real estate specialist designation in the first video to NARAB's Developers Academy and its members building affordable tiny homes, to the homeless to home ownership videos. They were absolutely amazing.
Yes, it's great. And it's a great testament to the incredible work that's being done, because it does change people's lives. And you know, what's interesting is each April, NAR asks members to recommit themselves to advancing fair housing. So why is that so important? Why is fair housing so important, Kevin?
Fair housing isn't just policy to me, it's personal. My parents aspired to own a home, but because of redlining and discriminatory covenants, they were forced to purchase in a far less desirable area than what they wanted. But they didn't give up. My father discovered there was a plot of land in foreclosure, and he and my mother saved their money. They purchased that plot of land, and they built our first family home. Their story reminds me our work is important. It opens the door to the American dream. It creates intergenerational wealth, and it drives the American economy forward.
It shows you what is possible, what can be done. I know in your presidency, a lot of it is focused on NAR getting back to business. NAR back to business is that mission statement you have. So how does advancing fair housing fit into that mission?
Well, getting back to business means helping our members navigate the issues that are impacting their day-to-day business, like financing, inventory, insurance, zoning restrictions, and other barriers to home ownership. Fair housing is linked to each one of these issues. Advancing fair housing is fundamental to ensuring we're expanding home ownership to the next generation of homeowners. Housing discrimination harms more than individuals. It distorts the market, prevents qualified buyers from realizing their goals, and limits economic growth. A free and open marketplace benefits everybody. Ensuring equal access strengthens both communities and the housing industry as a whole. NAR remains committed to strong fair housing enforcement, expanding homeownership opportunities. Ensuring equal access strengthens both communities and helps Americans move up the economic ladder.
Well, that is amazing that you say that and you have that commitment because you make it accessible. For some people, a house seems like it's out of reach, and you are making it possible for people. That being said, we've heard so many incredible stories from NAR's fair housing champions, as we just mentioned. What do you hope our audience takes away from today's program?
Well, first, the fair housing champions, they're remarkable. They're amazing. Each one of them illustrates a realtor difference. I want to congratulate Barry Long, Shannon Malcolm, Dr. Courtney Johnson-Rose, and thank them for their leadership, hard work, and dedication. It's my hope that everyone watching today is inspired by our fair housing champions and that they use this inspiration to advance fair housing in their communities. Discrimination is a huge issue, but our fair housing champions illustrate each one of us has the power to take action and create meaningful change. Advancing fair housing happens in our day-to-day interactions, and their stories teach all of us how important it is to be relentless in upholding and practicing these policies.
It makes such a difference. Thank you so much, Kevin, for all you do and for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are so grateful for your leadership. And special thanks to our fair housing champions and our panelists for their leadership, insight, and commitment to advancing fair housing. Your work continues to open doors to homeownership and strengthen communities every day. As we commemorate Fair Housing Month, we're reminded that while progress has been made, the work is far from finished. Fair housing is as vital today as ever, and each of us has a role to play in upholding it. Every day, agents and brokers who are realtors, like those we honored today, are helping people find a place to call home, building opportunity, expanding access, and moving us closer to a more equitable future for all. Thank you for joining us for Fair Housing Forward Live. This webcast will be available on NAR's YouTube channel and website. We encourage you to like, share, and join the conversation. Thank you so much for being with us.